Shalom. In our American milieu, we pride ourselves on our individualism. We pride ourselves on our American dreams, on the ability of each and every person to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, to realize their own individual success. We tell epic stories of individual realization of dreams, epic stories where we picture it as if there's one person out against the entire world, standing strong and tall, forging their own path straight into the future. We talk about how he did this or how she did that, as if it were only that one person that made that dream come true. And while it is true, and it's so important that we believe this, it is true that each and every person has the capacity to realize their dreams, to find success. It is also true that when people find success, it's not just because of their own hard work. It's not just because of their own raw talent, the blood, sweat, and tears they invest in that project. Success comes because of us, but it also becomes a reality because of the people that surround us, the people that love us and nourish us and help us to open the doors to our dreams. Let me tell you a story. Dona Susana was born in Bahia, Brazil. As a child, she was tormented by her peers. They teased her mercilessly for her stutter. They mocked her when she couldn't quite string words together. They harassed her knowing she could not speak up for herself. As a result, she spent much of her childhood fighting, using her fists to say what her mouth could not. She describes her childhood as being very chaotic, full of intensity. The only place she found peace was in the kitchen, cooking with her mother. There, amidst the peaceful simmer of delicious sauces and hearty stews, she dreamed of what her life could be like if she could just stay there and make her way in the kitchen. But that dream would be hard to realize. Dona Susana met her husband when they were both young and very poor. She got pregnant and moved into his little apartment overlooking the sea. At that time, he only had 2 pieces of furniture, a twin bed and a record player. But she didn't mind. She was in love. He got a job as a fisherman, and she washing laundry, a job that would enable her to care for their 2 sons as they grew older. And they built a happy home. She spent her days elbows deep in sudsy water, scrubbing other people's clothes and hanging it up, looking out over the sea and dreaming about what her life could be like if only she could make her living in the kitchen. Then one day something magical happened. The mayor came to Bahia. He brought with him a construction crew of 50 men. They were going to be renovating roofs, and he was looking for someone to cook for his crew. He asked around, who's the best chef around here? Who could cook? Do you know anybody that could cook? And everyone said without hesitation, Dona Susana is the best cook. You should ask Dona Susana. She was over the moon. As she described in a recent Netflix series, Street Food Latin America, My biggest dream was to become a cook, so this was my chance to prove myself. But I didn't have any equipment, so I worked up the courage. I took out a loan and I bought everything: pans, plates, flatware, all of the ingredients: rice, beans, beef, chicken, all of it. It made me really happy. I was serving them breakfast in the morning and lunch at noon. I made different dishes every day. They liked everything. It was wonderful. When the construction project ended, Dona Susana went with joy to pick up her earnings. She was so looking forward to paying off her debt and to using the remainder of what she had earned to open up her first restaurant, to realize those dreams of cooking that she had had since she was a little girl. But when she went to collect her money, the mayor ran out on her. He never paid. She not only lost the wages she would have earned washing laundry during those weeks, but she was also now so far in debt she couldn't see a way out. She was devastated. As she shared on the show, "I was very sad and I cried a lot. This was my chance to have a new life, and it turned out to be the biggest disappointment I've ever been through. After being cheated like this, I never wanted to hear about cooking again." Dona Susana went back to doing laundry. Shortly thereafter, her mother grew sick and died. And Dona Susana mourned her and mourned the dreams that were born alongside her in the kitchen long ago. Years pass. Another group of men come to Bahia. This time, it's a group of graffiti artists. They call themselves the Musas Boys. The Musas Boys are going to be doing some art projects in Bahia, and they're looking for someone to cook for them while they're working. So again, they come, they ask around, "Who's the best cook around? Who could cook for us?" And again, everyone says, Dona Susana is the best chef around. Dona Susana, ask her, ask Dona Susana. So they do. The Musas Boys look her up. They go to that small apartment overlooking the sea. They knock on her door and they ask her if she will cook for them. But Dona Susana is not about to be swindled again. She says no, closes the door. They knock again. "Please, will you cook for us? We've heard your food is amazing. Please, will you cook for us?" "I'm done cooking," she says. "Sorry." They knock again. "Please, we heard what happened to you before. Please, will you cook for us? We'll pay you in advance. We promise we won't run out of you. We won't run out on you, only please, please, will you just cook for us?" Dona Susana agreed. That first day, she made them a feast. It was the most delicious meal they'd ever had. She had learned from her mother how to make the most delicious fish moqueca, this fish stew that is native to that part of Brazil, with the dende oil and the delicious fish fresh from the sea that her husband brought. And she served it in front of them, and they had never smelled anything more delicious. And they took pictures of that food, and they posted it on social media. And they told everyone they knew, "Oh my God, you have to try Dona Susana's food." And every day they paid in advance, they came to her and they ate. And the more they ate, the more pictures they posted, the more people they told, the more people began to come. At first it was a few other people around the table, and then the table was filled and there were people sitting on the floor, and then the table was filled and people were sitting on the floor and they were leaning on the walls. It became clear to the Musas Boys that Dona Susana was running a restaurant. But anytime they mentioned it, she just said, "No, I just cook." So they decided to intervene. It wasn't enough that they had posted these pictures on the internet. It wasn't enough that they had built her a Facebook page and continued to post pictures and get people into the door to eat her delicious food. They wanted to help Dona Susana see herself the way other people could see her. And they realized that they were uniquely qualified to do this. They reflected on her life, on the way that the people in her life had led her towards her dream. As a child, it was the cruelty of other children which drove her into the kitchen, which drove her to build the skills that would enable her illustrious cooking career. As an adult, it was the respect and admiration of her friends and neighbors that led her to opportunity, one after the other, and finally to this place where she had, even if she wouldn't admit it, an amazing restaurant. So the Musas boys made her a sign that said, Dona Susana's restaurant. A stutter in the sign, just like a stutter in her speech, honoring the trials and the tribulations and the joy that led her to this place. And it didn't stop there. People were coming from all over the world. They were coming from all over Brazil, but also from France and England and from the United States. They were coming from newspapers and from fancy kitchens and from Netflix. People were coming not just because they wanted to try Dona Susana's amazing food, but because they wanted to be a part of her story, because they wanted to experience the love and the joy with which she put every plate of food on the table, and they wanted to be a part of that journey. Dona Susana did not succeed because of her own skill alone. True, she had resilience, she had grit, she had determination. True, she said yes to opportunities one after another. But Dona Susana's life was also so much because of the people around her, because of the people that believed in her, that saw her skill, that saw her potential, sometimes more even than she could herself. That's why Dona Susana's story is such an important story for us today. Today is Shabbat Mevarchim, the Shabbat on which we celebrate the arrival of Elul this coming week. Every year, Elul comes and it asks us to look inward, to do the work of tshuva, to look at our own lives, our own actions, our own relationships, and to see how we can improve. That's such important work. How can I do better so that I can become the best version of myself? We've got to do that work. But that's only part of the story. Each one of us is just one star in the galaxy, just one grain of sand on the shore of the sea. Our lives are part of a bigger story. And if we only focus on ourselves, we miss out on our potential to affect change, to affect healing, to affect growth. We miss out by focusing only on us, on how we can live our best lives. That's why our Talmud teaches, that's why our tradition teaches, Gadol hama'aseh yoter min ha'oseh. The person who helps others to do is greater than the person who just does it themselves. The person who inspires others is greater than the person who is just inspired. The person who empowers others is greater than one who is just empowered. The person who helps others to find success is greater than someone who finds success on their own. Our lives are not about just us. They are about all of us. So as we enter into the month of Elul, I have a challenge for you. Who will you help? Who will you empower? Whose life will be better because of you?